Hello, Wives Club. How are you today, my lovely ladies? So, I wanted to come up here and kind of give a little background of the Wives Club and how we all got started. So, I'm Kanasia. I'm the one who created the Wives Club, and I started this because back in 2014, I was newly married. I was a part of a blended family, and it was a lot going on. And during this time, there was a lot of me trying to figure life out as a woman, as a stepmom, as a wife, and all these different aspects of me. And it was pretty difficult. I felt like I was losing a grip on who I thought I was, on who I knew I was to be, or how I was. There were so many different changes that happened so very quickly for me. And so with that, I went to reach out to find some type of support from whether it was the women around me, friends, family, online support systems, support communities, and I was running into a brick wall. I couldn't find anyone who was there to support me in the areas that I needed support. And at this point, it was all areas. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this on my own. And I took that on my back, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go through the motions, deal with what I have to deal with. And as I go along, I'm going to write these things down. I'm going to keep a journal of them. I am going to do all the things that are necessary for me to. So I needed some help. I needed to figure it out. And that's when I started to do all the inner work. And I started to take it little by little. In between this time now, I was having children. So in 2015, I had my first child. My body went through changes. Even that within itself was a change because I have PCOS and I have struggled with this since I was 9 years old. So there were things that I needed to figure out about myself with that. Also, now I'm a mom, and I'm breastfeeding, and I'm, taking care of a baby while taking care of a household, and still all the things that were all there before I had a baby was still going on. So I'm like, I need to do something to keep me, balanced, or found some grounding or things like that. And that's why I started to journal things, and I started to write them down, and I started to look online for like maybe worksheets that I could do. And I found some on therapy8.com, which I would do by filling them out, which were very helpful. And then I just have a bunch of books that I would just write things in and just get it out of me. But also there were other things that were happening that I didn't know how to handle, and journaling them just wasn't the way. It was still there. It was still very apparent. And then come 2017, I had my second daughter. And after my second daughter, I went through postpartum depression. Unbeknownst to me or my family that is what I was going through, I was going through it. And I was literally losing my mind, if you would say. And at that point, when that happened, I really, 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 really had to dig deep to dig my way out of that dark place, to dig my way out of that feeling of like hopelessness and worry and anxiety and depression and fatigue and all these things. It really got very bad for me. And so I started to listen to music, which would help me feel better, go walking and, do things outside in nature, sit outside with my daughters while they played and things like that. And I would sit out there and read a book in the sun, or I would walk around with them while they were playing. I would be running around with them. And these things really helped me to like almost kind of bring myself back to like, I guess the child in me, awakening for me to then lighten up my load of how much I was overthinking and what I was feeling and what I was going through. And I know everyone has this beautiful perception that motherhood is all cakes and rainbows. And don't get me wrong, becoming a mother, it has been the best thing that has ever happened to me in my life. I prayed about being a mom. My prayer was for an abundance of happiness, health, and wealth and prosperity for my unborn children and future husband before I had any of it. So this was my number one wish in the world, was to be a wife and a mother. But even within that, I realized that There are things that you don't realize you're going to go through. There are things that you don't realize are going to happen, and things are going to change. And you don't always account for those things. And some of those things are really hard, like really hard, right? And if you're not equipped, and if you're not set for it, and if you're not ready for it, it can take you out. It can take you down. And if you don't have the strength to push past it, sometimes you'll cover it, in a surface way with a bunch of materialistic things or distractions, and then your kids end up suffering because you don't know how to deal with those pressures. And a lot of that is happening with our women and our moms in our community, especially the melanated community. And so I refuse to let that overtake me. Like, I'm a fighter. You know what I'm saying? I am a warrior. I am going to push forth that energy to do what it is that I need to do, because I'm not going to give up on me. No matter how many times I fall, no matter how many times I feel like, oh man, this one is really hard, I'm always going to do my very best to push forward and try to figure things out, because that's just how I am. I've been that way since a kid. And so when I started to feel this, and I started to get these feelings and these thoughts about, like not feeling worthy or feeling unfit or being overwhelmed and things like that, I really had to tap into something within inside of me. And I had to write these things out, and I had to fill out these journals, and I had to watch certain motivational speeches, listen to certain motivational speeches, encouraging words and vision boards, and putting up sticky notes with just empowering manifestation tools and powerful affirmations that just helped me change my subconscious mind. And then what was happening for me is that a lot of things that had happened to me when I was a kid was surfacing. And thoughts that I hadn't even, one, remembered, two, even thought about in years were surfacing. And I was like, where is this coming from? And things I remember, I had told my husband one time something that happened to me as a kid, and I had even forgot that it all happened. And I was like, this actually happened to me. And it started to make me deal with those other things that I hadn't even thought about dealing with, that I had suppressed and repressed for years. So that was also happening during that postpartum process. Plus being a mother, and me just trying to figure out why I was feeling so down, even though I was so grateful to have my children, and I was so thankful that I was a mom. And my vision board back in like 2014 was to be a mother of 2 by 2017, and I was. And I still was feeling like down and a little off and not myself and overwhelmed. And I'm like, man, why am I feeling like this? Mind you, I got my mom here, she's helping out, and I got my husband here. He's supportive and he's helping out, but I, was just going through it. But with already having PCOS as a hormonal imbalance, and then your hormones being even more imbalanced after having a baby, and then you're breastfeeding, and then your body's trying to heal back, a lot of that can be a lot. And I don't think us as mothers really understand, or women really understand, how much you need to take that time to nurture yourself and care for yourself and have supportive people around you who are going to do the same. Because you need that. You need that. And if we're being honest, in villages where moms, after they have babies, everyone is there to support them. Things are different now because we're in a different time and we live differently now, but those things are still very needed. They're very much needed for us to do, to have, and to make sure that we are in understanding that we need to do it for ourselves as well. So I would definitely say what helped me the most is finding time for me. When I had a chance, anytime I had a chance, my thing that helps me is to go and sing. Whether it's I'm mad or I'm upset or I'm sad or I'm crying or whatever, singing for me has always helped me release that. I sing very loudly, so to me it almost is like I'm screaming but with a purpose. And I'm able to let those emotions out. So some of that is what I had to tap into to help me through that process. Some of the other things, like I was saying, journaling and walking and playing with my children. Playing with my children really was a big help for me as well, because it brought me back to, you know, a kid again, you know, because children they're very unbiased. They're very, you know, innocent. They don't have these worries. And so if you can get down there and just play with them, we sit down and play with blocks, or I would paint with them, or I would play in the water station in the backyard with them, or blow bubbles with them. And I know these things sound very like minute, and I know some people don't have the time to do that, but I promise you, doing some of these things with your kids and your loved ones, which, you know, your children are your loved ones, and I mean in that sense, not like the adults, but your children really help to bring out that inner child in you, and that's what I was needing. Those things that were coming up for me when I was a child was the traumas that I was having, and how I wasn't necessarily nurtured properly as a child, or was attended to as a child, emotionally, mentally, physically. I needed that. I needed that connection. I needed that love. I needed that nurturing, and those things were coming up because of that stuff. So I, you know, understood that when I played with them, it made me happier. When I, you know, sat down and just colored in a coloring book and laid across the floor with them, it eased those thoughts and it eased those feelings for me. So those are one of the things that I utilized, to feel better. And noticing that, I was able to eventually realize what my triggers were. You know, I was able to recognize where I was feeling uneasy at, and why I was feeling uneasy, and what I needed to do to change the uneasiness. Now, what I'm not saying is that once you do these things, it's over and you're never going to feel this way again. That's not realistic, and that is not what usually happens. But what I will say is that these are just some of the things that I understood, that I needed for me to feel safe again, for me to kind of process through what I was going through with feeling anxious and depressed and all these types of things. So I would definitely say, if you can, you know, tap into that for yourself. And I hope this is helping someone. I hope that the information that I am giving is helpful to someone, whether they're newly a mom, or a mom of multiple, or a grown mom, a mom of grown children. You never know. Or even a person before they have kids. Sometimes people who are not parents go through depression and anxiety, and maybe if you have children around you, get over there and play with them children and just be a kid again. You know, let go of all the things that you're thinking about and just be a kid again. So that is also something that I would definitely say to try. So also, these tools, I was like, I'm sure there are pretty much other women going through this. And I wanted to create something that would be helpful for other women, that I could reach other women, and that other women who had overcame these things could reach back and teach us, and could reach back and teach some of the other young ladies, you know, before they've gotten into marriage, or even if they're new to marriage, on their second or third marriage. I wanted them to be able to have a space to also expose us to some of their steps and their tricks and trades, and how they got through it, and what they did, and what resources they used. So I wanted to create this community of women so that we could be supporting each other, because the narrative that is painted for women, especially melanated women, is that we're in competition, and is that we don't need one another, and is that we can't get along with one another, and we're not compatible to be in the same place at the same time without it being something negative. And I definitely wanted to change that narrative, because I understand that that's not the truth. We can do this, and we can heal, and we can be better, and we can grow from the narrative that is being pushed to us through the media. And we can change the narrative that we've seen, even with the women from our past, or our elders not being able to do that. Or if even your immediate surrounding didn't look like that, that there was a way for us to get this done, and that we could do it. But it did take for us to grow. And so even now in 2024, it is just now really getting the momentum of women actually knowing about our club and knowing about what we do and understanding that it's not just for women who are wives. Yes, it's called the WIVEZ CLUB because what I understand is, and there are a lot of women who may not want to be married or may not want to be in a relationship, but most of us, if not all of us, are striving to live a life in a partnership with someone who loves us unconditionally and we love them unconditionally. And what I realize is that there is no school to teach us how to be a compatible wife or how to be in a healthy relationship or how to pick a partner who is going to also be in a healthy relationship with us, or how to take care of ourselves before we're even ready to be in a relationship, or what things we need to heal before we're even ready to be in a relationship. And so all of our end results as women, I will say, is most likely, now you may not want to be a mother, but most of us, if not all, want to be a wife or want to be in a companionship and have unconditional love in a partnership. And so what this is for is this: whether you are single, married, divorced, engaged, widowed, whatever it is, excuse me, that we have the tools to help all of our women to be that healthy, balanced individual. And so that's what the WIVEZ Club is here to do. It's here to build that community, because you know what? The nuclear family is the strength of our community. The melanated man and woman is a powerful thing to be a part of. You know, men and women coming together to show that we may not be equal in the sense that how we are made, but we are equal in understanding that unconditional love takes the both of us. That unconditional love is what we can have for ourselves and one another. And so I know that we get so caught up in the labels and the pieces of paper and the names and what these all mean, and then we don't have the depth of ourselves to follow up with these pieces of papers. You know, it's really more so about who we are, you know, and what we stand for. What are our values? What do we want to bring to this world? What do we want to birth into this world? Because as a woman, we birth a nation. Okay, and so that means we have to be physically, mentally, emotionally sound, balanced individuals so that we can then nurture our family and our communities. And then we can know how to let it be known what we need to be nurtured with. We can tell our partners and we can tell our people around us how we need their support, what we need, and how we need them to show up for us, so that we can then say, hey, I can show up in this way and you can show up in that way. And this is the type of things that I need. These are the type of things that I need to thrive. And when we're comfortable and we're solid in who we are, we don't feel uncomfortable saying those things. We understand that it takes for us to work on us, but it also takes for us to make sure that the boundaries are being upheld for the people that also are around us, because that circle that you are in is going to propel you to a different level if you have the proper circle to be in. So I definitely want to encourage our women to definitely seek inner healing, to seek your inner journey, whatever that looks like for you. And I'm going to say this, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not like a fad diet that you can do and then you lose the weight and then it comes back. And you know why that is? Because we're not dealing with the root and the surface of what's happening. Don't get me wrong. I've lost weight and I've gained weight, but this time around, I've taken the long road on purpose. I've taken the steps so I can understand me on multiple levels, so I can understand why I'm even, guided towards certain things, why I'm even in the space of trying to understand who I am and why I am and what am I pulling from? What is my subconscious mind having there that's making me think that what I'm doing to myself or for myself is okay? Excuse me. And so this is very important that we learn these things, because you know what? The end result is going to be a healthy person on every level. Not just, I've lost the weight, or I've changed my hair, or I've gained this much money, or I've bought this house and I've bought this car and I got this fine looking man, and that these are the things that tell me I'm successful, or that I'm worthy, or that I'm valuable, or that I've accomplished something. No. Sometimes it's the things that are unseen that are really what the value is in. That's really what you're worth. That's really where you're going to get your accomplishments from, on the work that you decided to do on you, because that's what really matters. And you deserve that. You deserve that for you. And then you can give it to the people around you that you feel deserve it, because there are some people who don't deserve that from you. But you won't know who deserves it from you until you understand that you deserve it for you. And then you'll be able to say, I understand what I'm willing to give. I have an understanding of what I'm willing to sacrifice of myself for the greater good for the people around me. And if you don't have people around you that are going to appreciate that portion that you sacrifice of yourself, it will be in vain. So, get to know who you are, love yourself, be who you are in every way, and understand it about yourself. And this is what we at the Wives Club do. We help you on that journey. We help you get there. We help you understand that whatever level you are at, we're here for the support, and we honor support. And the starting of this came from a broken woman who was dealing with so many different things and trying to grow and trying to be better. And now I can sit here and say that I've seen my accomplishments, and I've seen the work that I've done, and I've got way more to go. But I'm okay with where I'm at, and I'm trusting my process. And we want to help you all do the same thing. So please visit our website at wivesclub.com. WIVEZCLUB.com. Or you can email us at empowerment@wivesclub.com. We are here for you guys. You can also put your check out our information down in our description box, and you can visit our Facebook page. It's also Wives Club, WIVEZCLUB. Come and join our community. We would love to have you. We would love to support you. We would love your support. We would love for you to come to our meetups and our virtual meetings and our panels on TikTok and our Facebook group, and come to our support meetings that are all over the place. We host them in multiple different states. We have partners in different places so we can meet you where you are. Come and join us to have a good time and grow and be a better you. Thank you. And you guys all have a great day.